In a sterile white office, a soft, celestial light shimmered above the desk of a nervous intern who had no idea how to navigate the Afterlife retrieval department. This was Eva's first week on the job. Fresh out of Afterlife orientation, she'd been thrilled to land an internship at the Agency for Soul Retrieval, the busiest department in all of Judgment City, a sprawling metropolis in the clouds where souls were sorted, guided, and occasionally misplaced. Eva had imagined something serene, glowing halls, spiritual mentors, harp music. Instead, she found herself drowning in bureaucracy, glowing orbs of soul data, metaphysical filing cabinets, and spiritual clerks arguing over soul tags while sipping bottomless cups of celestial espresso. She still wasn't entirely sure what a soul tag was. But one thing was clear: she had made a mistake. A big one. Judgment City wasn't just a place where souls were judged. It was a celestial metropolis built from glass, light, and dreams. Imagine Earth's greatest cities. Now picture them floating in the sky. Towering buildings shimmered with golden glow. Sky gardens hovered above parks where eternal sunsets lingered. Souls strolled along canals under lavender skies. Everything Earth had, Judgment City had, and more. There were golf courses where every swing felt perfect. Racetracks with hovering cars. Five-star restaurants serving nostalgia-infused meals that didn't cause heartburn or weight gain. Cosmic cinemas played your favorite memories like movies. It was paradise, unless you were retrieved by accident. Mr. Jacob, a sharp-dressed man with salt and starlight hair, stood at his desk reviewing an urgent soul discrepancy. Julia Cortez. Married. 3 children. Accidental retrieval. Soul cremated. Body unavailable for re-entry. He sighed. 3rd intern-based error this week. And this time, the body was already cremated. No going back. He tapped his wristband. Intern Eva, report to temporary assignment prep. We're offering Julia Cortez a short-term position in Judgment City while we await directives from the higher courts. Julia opened her eyes to find herself seated on a gleaming white bench surrounded by soft clouds and distant singing birds. She blinked, confused. The last thing she remembered was sipping chamomile tea in her kitchen. Where am I? Mr. Jacob appeared beside her, calm and composed. Mrs. Cortez, he said gently, there's been a small clerical mishap. Am I dead? Technically. But accidentally. You weren't scheduled for another 23 years. Julia stared at him. Excuse me? Unfortunately, Mr. Jacob continued, your body has already been cremated. There's no vessel to return to. So what happens now? We're offering you a temporary position here, in Judgment City, while we sort things out. Julia blinked again. You want me to work in the afterlife? It's more of a volunteer role. Think of it as celestial consulting. Back at her desk, Eva stared at the glowing orb labeled Cortez Julia. Her mind racing, wondering what Mr. Jacob has in store for her. She hadn't meant to misfile the soul. She'd followed protocol, or thought she had. But something had gone wrong. And now a woman was stuck in the afterlife, 23 years too early. She glanced at the screen again. A flicker. A glitch? Or something else? Julia held the glowing card tightly in her hand as she stepped out of Mr. Jacob's office and into the streets of Judgment City. The city was alive with light and sound, yet somehow peaceful, a city that seemed built from dreams and gentle memories. She took a deep breath. The air smelled like fresh rain and baked bread. How was it possible for a place in the afterlife to smell so real? Just then, a street performer caught her eye. A small crowd had gathered around a slender figure juggling orbs of shimmering light. With a mischievous grin, the performer caught Julia's attention and beckoned her over. New here? He said, his voice light and teasing. Don't worry, we've all been misplaced at one time or another. Julia smiled despite herself. You don't say! The performer bowed dramatically. I'm Felix, part-time illusionist, full-time misfiled soul. I was supposed to be in the Renaissance, but somehow ended up in the Jazz Age instead. They still haven't figured it out. Julia laughed. That sounds complicated. Felix winked. You have no idea. As Julia wandered away from the crowd, she passed a cafe buzzing with activity. Souls chatted over steaming cups of endless coffee, sharing stories that felt both ancient and immediate. A voice interrupted her thoughts. You look new? Julia turned to see a tall woman with silver hair and eyes that seemed to glow softly. I'm Mira, she said. I've been here a while. How long is a while? Julia asked. Mira smiled wistfully. Long enough to learn that Judgment City isn't just a place to rest, it's a place to understand. Julia raised an eyebrow. Understand what? Mira glanced around, lowering her voice. The mistakes. The mix-ups. The lost souls. Some of us believe that these errors aren't accidents, but signs of something bigger. Before Julia could respond, a commotion nearby drew their attention. A soul had tripped over a floating pebble and was desperately trying to save a stack of glowing scrolls from scattering across the skywalk. Felix reappeared, juggling orbs with expert skill. Graceful as ever, he quipped. Julia chuckled. I don't even know where to start with all of this. Mira gave her a knowing look. As they walked together through the glowing cityscape, Julia's mind raced. The beauty, the serenity, it was real. But so was the feeling that beneath this shimmering surface, Judgment City was different than what she thought. Later that day, Mr. Jacob stopped by with a rare smile. How's our new recruit settling in? Julia shrugged. It's different, but I'm starting to get the hang of things. Jacob's eyes flickered with something unreadable. Be careful, Julia. You might get used to working in Judgment City. Sometimes you might want to stay here. Julia smiled. Julia wonders if mistakes are happening more often. Jacob's gaze drifted toward the horizon. That's what I intend to find out. As evening fell, Julia looked out over Judgment City's skyline. The lights twinkled like stars, the air filled with soft music and laughter. A second chance. A new beginning. But what to expect in helping arriving new souls to Judgment City? And Julia Cortez was ready to unravel it.
Oh,